our kids, it's probably safe to say that as we watch them grow, we're always on the lookout for signs that something may be wrong, whether it be a mental disorder or even a learning disability.
It's not always easy to detect. What some may write off as a child's unwillingness to do his or her schoolwork can be a sign of something beyond their control. For instance, take attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. The National Institute of Mental Health describes ADHD as a common mental disorder that begins in childhood and can continue through adulthood. As far as its impact on a child, the Institute says ADHD can make it hard for them to focus and to pay attention. As the name of the disorder suggests, people with ADHD can be hyperactive or have a tough time being patient, all of which can make it difficult for a child to do well in school. Still, it's important to know the Institute says ADHD can be treated. A child, or even an adult with a disorder, can live a very normal life. As a matter of fact, there's an effort underway to raise awareness about ADHD. The group Eye to Eye has been traveling the country. Their goal is to help improve the lives of people who have a learning disability.
What we hope to accomplish is build self-esteem, teach self-advocacy, and just have the children appreciate their own individual and unique minds.
Eye to Eye does that by pairing kids who have ADHD with high school and college mentors who have been similarly labeled. They work together to learn.
Well, another mental disorder that has been grabbing headlines recently, schizophrenia. Researchers are now learning more about this disabling condition, including a possible link between marijuana and schizophrenia. Researchers in London studied more than 1,000 people who smoke marijuana. Their study found that the gene that increases the risk of a person developing schizophrenia may also increase their chances of smoking pot. Paraphrasing what lead researcher Robert Power says, we know that cannabis increases the risk of schizophrenia, but the study suggests that a predisposition to schizophrenia also increases your likelihood of cannabis use. And just like so many disorders, schizophrenia too can often be misunderstood.
As a matter of fact, so much so that it has people using Schizophrenia Simulator to see just what it's like to live with the disorder, including CNN's Anderson Cooper.
So I'm going to put these earphones in and they're going to try to do a series of tests. Okay, so I'm now hearing sort of whispers and voices in my head.
I'm going to say 5 words. You don't have to repeat them, but just listen to them.
You'll be near.
Cat,
Near
book,
to me.
cigar,
I'll make it
damage,
okay.
and rain.
Make you okay.
Can you name the last 4 presidents of the United States?
Okay for you to be
Barack
here.
Obama, George
I'm
Bush,
Here. Here. Right here.
Bill
Near.
Clinton,
Here.
and George Bush.
Hear it? Hear
So
it
those
now?
5 words I said before, can you remember any of
Near
them?
and here. Hear it.
No. It's hard because sometimes voices are like whispering, and sometimes they're
You're
aggressive,
okay
and
now.
sometimes they're kind of comforting. And
Hear the tree.
but again, with people kind of talking to you all the time, it's
okay.
hard.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
That is something.
And this is something we do a lot because we have people talking in our ears as we're doing the show,
Right,
but nothing
right.
like that.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Now, let's take it a step further. We saw how tough it can be with just the voices in your head, but add video to that and the experience can be even more intense.
Well, I haven't done it yet.
This is Vanessa Southworth's first time trying the schizophrenia simulator.
I'm anticipating that I'm going to be hearing and seeing things that I wouldn't normally expect.
Schizophrenia is a disorder that makes it difficult to determine the difference between what is real and what is not real.
Okay, I think we're set.
Vanessa prepares for the simulation by putting on a headpiece and headphones.
I can hear it.
Okay, you're good to go.
The simulation starts with an individual getting up in the morning.
What time is it?
Better luck to them and their fans next year. It can only get better. And in
I don't want to do this today.
I'm starting to hear people talking to me.
Hey! We mean you. What's gotten into them?
It's telling me not to take my medication.
Don't do it. People are gonna think you're crazy. Don't do it.
Don't take them.
Put them down.
Attaboy.
Even the person on TV is talking to me.
Not as stupid as you, though.
Next, the individual's mother arrives to take him to a doctor's appointment.
Saying not to trust people.
Don't listen to her.
Mom.
What does she know?
Finally, the individual goes to the doctor's appointment.
Voices are telling not to talk to the doctor.
Are you hearing voices right now?
You don't have to answer that.
It's okay to keep it just between us.
Vanessa goes through the entire simulation.
I think we're done.
And you can tell by her reaction just how intense it was.
When you have those voices, they're there. I mean, you can't deny that they're there.
Although it's only a simulation to Vanessa, you can bet she has a better understanding of what it's like to live with a mental illness.
I just couldn't imagine having to go about my day with someone constantly whispering in my ear.
Don't listen to her.
You always ask that.
Wow. By going through the simulation, experts hope people start to understand how difficult it can be for someone to deal with an illness on their own and why it's so important for them to have support programs out there to help.
Okay, so now that we have a little better understanding, how do you know when it's time to get help for yourself or a loved one? Well, according to the Mayo Clinic, symptoms of schizophrenia typically start in the early to mid-20s. They may include delusions, which occur in 80% of the people with schizophrenia. There are also hallucinations, of which the Mayo Clinic says hearing voices is the most common. A person with schizophrenia may also have disorganized thinking or difficulty communicating effectively. Another symptom of schizophrenia, extremely disorganized or abnormal motor behavior. For instance, the Mayo Clinic says maybe the person resists instructions or has bizarre posture. You also want to watch for what's called negative symptoms. Maybe the person doesn't make eye contact or they speak without inflection. They may just have a loss of interest in everyday activities. There are some other symptoms to watch out for in your teenagers, such as a drop in school performance and trouble sleeping. Many times, the Mayo Clinic says teens' symptoms are similar to those in adults.
And the Mayo Clinic says it's uncommon for children to be diagnosed with schizophrenia and rare for those older than 45. Now, something many people are diagnosed with in their older years is dementia.
According to the World Health Organization, more than 35 million people have some form of dementia. It's a frightening condition that can rob you of your most precious memories. But just because you have memory trouble doesn't mean you have dementia.
Where did you put your keys? When did you say you'd meet? What is that person's name? 66-year-old Jennifer Alexander was asking herself these kinds of questions often.
Wonder what I came in here for. What was I doing here? So, there is some of that.
Like many 60-somethings, Jennifer says her memory isn't what it used to be. But is it something to worry about?
So we know that some changes in memory are problematic and some are not.
Experts say you shouldn't worry about absent-mindedness. That's not paying close enough attention to what you're doing, like occasionally misplacing glasses or keys.
Sometimes what concerns us about memory is really that lack of attention.
Also, don't worry about transience. That's forgetting facts over time. This usually clears the way for new memories. Misattribution, where you recall only part of something once in a while, is also nothing to fret over. And blocking, or the temporary inability to retrieve a memory, is no biggie either.
It's not that the information's not there. It just takes a little bit longer to retrieve it.
When should you worry? If memory problems continuously disrupt your daily life, if your family is more concerned than you, if you can't carry on a conversation, or if you're constantly withdrawing from social situations, losing track of dates and time, also signs of early Alzheimer's. Jennifer was able to improve her memory with some simple brain exercises.
I feel that I'm paying more attention at a deeper level.
And now she worries less and remembers more.
We've mentioned just a few signs of Alzheimer's. There are symptoms that you need to watch out for. We put that list on our website, WBOC.com. All you have to do is click on our picture right there at the top of the page.
Well, another serious situation many women find themselves in is one of domestic abuse. But for whatever reason, Hispanic women are half as likely to report it as victims of other races. Up next on Delmarva Live, how one nonprofit group is stepping up and giving them a voice.
And a little later on, you can step up and give these faces a home. We're going to introduce you to another batch of sweet dogs and cats on Delmarva that would just love to be the newest addition to your family. Delmarva Live will be right back.